what was that, Ben? Yeah. We're ready now. Now that Ben had his outburst. Okay, so, um, what this is gonna be funny. Trent, don't turn around. Okay, good. So maybe we got him playing chess in the background. It's cool, but no faces, no names. Well, except for Ben and Trent. But all right, what we're going to be looking at is the Grob 1G4 and breaking this opening because there are a lot of trick openings in chess, and you can get away with a lot in blitz, and especially can get away with it if people aren't prepared for it. In this case, Grandmaster Gariev, he in a tournament, I believe it was on a cruise ship in 2015. He played it against a 2400 rated player and absolutely wrecked him. Now, I have some improvements, and I have a very simple recommendation for beating the Grob. Now, the thing when G3 is played versus G4 is the pawn is protected. Now, when a pawn is on G3, it is also covering the H4 and F4 squares. So in my mind, when I started looking at this line, I know that this bishop is more than likely going to G2. So if I could somehow travel with a knight to attack that bishop and use the squares, it will be very, very annoying in many situations. Yes? Question? Yeah. So start off with E5. Now, easy, and it's starting to see the plan that I'm emphasizing. If you know the plan, you know how to play against the Grob. That's simple. It doesn't matter if you normally play E5 or not. You'll see that it's a very flexible and easy to play structure. So some popular moves here, instead of the natural bishop G2, we've got C4. So it's played a lot like an English, except the pawn's on G4 instead of G3. And then this will transpose into the next line, which is H4, H5. And notice how, no matter how he handles this, you're going to get some space. So if he takes, okay, thanks for developing my rook, and you're just getting like normal development, you'll castle queenside, say queen d7, castle queenside, and you're going to use the H file. So long term, say like the knight comes to f6, queen comes to d7, I castle, and then I'm going to put the d8 rook on h8, and notice how that pawn's always going to be weak in every endgame. That's it. You already have a solid advantage with black. Now, going back, bishop g2, the key move, remember, it's the idea of playing for the weaknesses on these squares. So first, knight e7, and I'm headed to the holes that were made with g4. So c4, and like I said, it would transpose from c4 immediately. Knight bc6, you'll eventually get knight e7. Now, say for instance if he plays g5, I'm still going for it. Knight g6, h4, h6. Not necessarily knight f4 immediately because king f1 and you just trade and his king castled by hand. But h6 makes it to where he's got a decision to make. So d3, takes. And again, we have the same theme of an isolated pawn that we're going to be able to attack. So it's the same plan as we discussed earlier. d6, bishop moves, queen d7, castle queenside. We lift a rook, double the rooks, and then pressure that pawn and win it. Question?
And also, the rook on h1 is pinned by the pawn, so if bishop takes bishop, then...
That would be accurate if his bishop wasn't defending his rook. But yeah, it's not necessarily pinned, but just notice the dynamic. This is an active rook attacking a weakness. This is a passive defensive piece that is relegated to defending that pawn. So you have a favorable imbalance when that happens. Okay? All this making sense so far? It's pretty straightforward. Like g4, you want to play e5, knight e7, knight g6. You know, it's not like unbelievable.
Because, like, I would think he'd trying to be pushing his other pawns to support it.
Yeah. So rolling it back for the d-pawn players, the issue that a lot of people run into when facing the Grob is, you know, they'll get a position like this, and then they'll go, okay, yeah, I'm going to grab this pawn, and then after c4, I mean, it looks like you're doing fine, but one, you can't take here because he's going to take on b7. So then you say, okay, well, I'm going to do this. Looks like a natural enough move, but after pawn takes, queen a4 check, and you see already you got to do something like this, and then after queen b3, you fell into the trap. He's getting his pawn back with interest. because you just moved your bishop around, and
Bishop c6.
yeah, bishop c6. But I mean, I can continue to just gradually add pressure, and it's annoying to play against. But you see what I'm saying? There's some tricks here. That's why I'm solidly recommending g4 e5. So let's get back to the main game where we played knight bc6, knight c3, and we finally get our move. If the computer won't freeze, knight g6, perfect. And this is one of the things in my notes. I don't know if it's been played since then, but only 2 games in the database. It's a hardly explored continuation. But I honestly believe that this is something that, if deeply explored, it is something that black, in the very least, is achieving equality. But I just don't think that g4 is a feasible move for somebody to play. And that is me openly daring pretty much anybody I face in tournament play to play it against me. Because I'll play my prep that I'm showing here. Bet. So, after knight g6, e3, keeping him out of f4, which seems natural. Knight h4. This is a novelty in this position. This has never been reached before in a tournament game. So this is computer-generated analysis from this point. Every move is considered best choice by the computer. So bishop e4, which seems unnatural. h5. Putting pressure on the g4 pawn again, so he takes. And lo and behold, we have another one of those situations to where the h-pawns are going to be weak, our rook is good, his isn't as good. f5, kicking the b. Who doesn't love kicking b's? All right, take. Knight f3, bishop d7, b3, he's just trying to get development, takes. He didn't want to take us ever because our queen would be great. Takes. Queen g5, we're going after that weak h-pawn. Knight e2, queen takes h5. And my evaluation of this position is, with the bishop pair, a better pawn structure, and a weakness to focus on an h3, I feel that the line is pretty much busted for white. Sorry, Grob people. Especially you. Not you. You don't play the Grob? Yeah, no one in here plays the Grob because we're smart.